Born with Teeth just opened in London at Wyndham's Theatre, and this might not be your new favorite play, but it's a very much play worth seeing, especially with these two in the cast. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. Born with Teeth opened in 2022 in Houston and is written by Liz Daffy Adams. And this production in London is its European premiere. The story follows a speculated creative partnership between Christopher Kit Marrlow and William Shakespeare. It's set in the Elizabethan era during 1590s, and these years were very much known as the spy years, where there was a really big network of spies across the country who were reporting back to the Queen all sorts of things: who's Catholic, who's Protestant, who they're having ties with. If you were to write or say something against the Queen or the King of the past, it would be a big issue and people were actually killed for it. So with the play being set during this time, it really puts this creative partnership in an interesting context that not only allows for witty exchanges and commentary on the society of the time, but it brings a level of tension because Kit and Will are on the opposite sides of the spectrum and they want different things from life and had different attitudes towards both being the spies and being recognized and known for the work that they are doing. And one of the biggest things that I really enjoyed about this play is Ncuti Gatwa, who is in the role of Kit Marrlow. I have seen Ncuti Gatwa in The Importance of Being Earnest earlier this year and I was amazed by his performance, but I think that the role of Kit Marrlow really allows him to shine in such a way that maybe in a big production like The Importance of Being Earnest wasn't possible because of so many characters. As Kit Marrlow, he is flirtatious, outrageous, confrontational, provocative, all of the things that are just occupying the whole stage when he is delivering his lines. This is a play with only two actors in it and it's all a dialogue between the two of them. And there is a really strong emphasis on building these characters and making them truly unique. And when I witnessed Ncuti's performance, I could really feel Kit Marrlow's intentions was driving him and his attitude also towards Shakespeare and his work and this collaboration. Just there were so many amazing small moments of his performance that really contributed to building out this character to the fullest and helping you enjoy it and understand it despite it being very much a fiction and not like an accurate representation of the events. Ncuti really made you feel like Kit Marrlow is in front of you and is really talking with passion about things that matter to him the most. So I think if there's one reason for you to see this play is definitely Ncuti Gatwa's performance. The second reason for seeing this production is the chemistry between Ncuti Gatwa and Gatwa Bluemel, who is portraying William Shakespeare. This is a very insightful way to imagine him more as a person rather than this important figure in the literature and theater, and everything that we know about Shakespeare to me feels very kind of distant because it happened so many years ago. Gatwa Bluemel managed to bring out a very nuanced portrayal of Shakespeare, making him feel like he is a living person in front of you with all of his dilemmas and fears and just his need to stay unknown and just do his job and basically get paid and move on with his life. So compared to Ncuti Gatwa's Kit Marrlow, who is really pushing for getting something out of Will Shakespeare to say or to commit to or to speak out his opinion, Gatwa Bluemel is pretty much for the whole play really trying to keep this distance as much as possible and keep his thoughts to himself. And it is a very nuanced performance, especially because he is met with such fire from Ncuti. And it's a beautiful contrast. And their chemistry builds up from the beginning till the end in such way that the roles reverse and the power play at the end is slightly different to how it all started. So I think both of these actors are 100% worth seeing on stage together. And I think it's also incredible that when you have two people delivering a show, for it to never feel stale or low or that you are kind of waiting for the next move. It feels very natural, very true, and very explosive, the way that they communicate with each other. And there's a lot of dynamic on stage and there's a lot of space that they're occupying with their presence and their characters, despite the stage having only a table in the middle and the rest is just space. And somehow the two performances that they deliver really take you into this imaginary world in such a real way. The third reason for seeing this play play is writing. I do think that this play is written in a way that is so quick and witty and humorous and fast, and the two of them have managed to excel in their performances because of the material that they've been working with. I do think that it will depend how much you like this play on the historical context that you have about William Shakespeare. This is pretty much an imaginary relationship. There are some speculations about it. There is some research that confirms that they have been collaborating, but a lot of nuances about this play are kind of made up with some historical context and some details that are added from the events that actually happened. However, there may be certain characteristic or portrayals that you might disagree with because that's not how you imagine Shakespeare, or certain things that he's saying or he's standing up for is not what matches up with maybe historical understanding of Shakespeare that you have. But there is no doubt that this play is well written and is super engaging to watch. The fourth thing that I really enjoyed is a mix between new and traditional. When you enter the theater, there is this screen that looks like it's a bit glitchy, and you are basically staring at it while you're waiting for the show to start, and it gives you a feel that it's going to be a modern delivery of this show. However, while it starts in a very explosive way, the actual set that you are seeing for the majority of time is basically spotlight on these two actors, and they're dressed in costumes that are giving a nod to the traditional way of dressing. So there is that clash, and I think that that clash works really well because it gives a nod to the fact that this is a new interpretation of events and it is penned in the 21st century. However, it is still set in that historical context with the way that they're dressed or the props that they're having. When it comes to the way that they speak, it is very much also modern language. So it's a nice blend of the two, and I thought that that solution was very much appropriate for this show, and it's something that could make it stand out. The fifth reason to see this show is a new take on Shakespeare's life. I do think that a lot of the times when we consume Shakespeare's plays and content around Shakespeare, there is that history lesson that comes with it. However, this play is something that puts Shakespeare in a completely new context and showcases his doubts and fears and passion and struggles in a completely new light. And it is engaging, it is fun, it is different, it gives nod to quite a lot of work that Shakespeare has developed over the years. There are some really witty exchanges and citations of his work. So all of this kind of gives a love letter to Shakespeare and Marrlow as well. But it is all set in such a way that it just feels contemporary. It feels really suited for new audiences. And I think this is a really clever way to get audiences engaged with life and history of someone like William Shakespeare and Kit Marrlow. So overall, I do think that this is a show that brings a lot of energy, that has amazing cast, that you will definitely enjoy seeing because it lasts only 90 minutes, so there's no interval. It is one of those quick shows that really fill you with a lot of energy, fill you with a lot of different thoughts, and then you kind of leave the theater and you're like, wow, I actually really enjoyed this. And that is my impression of the show. I would highly recommend it to anyone to go and check it out. The show is on at the Wyndham's Theatre until November 1st, and if you like the sound of this video, then make sure to go and get your tickets. But if you're wondering what other shows would be worth seeing this year, then check out this video where I'm talking about my 5 favorites.